This is the M4 Pro MacBook Pro, and I've been using it for just over a year now, but should you buy one in 2026? Well, to answer that, you've got to ask yourself three really big questions. The first one, can you rely on it for those heavier tasks like 4K and even 8K video editing? The second, can you actually expect this to get through an entire year in one piece? And number three, what's the battery health going to be looking like on the M4 Pro after a year of usage? And I'm going to help you out and answer that last one straight away. If we take a look at the battery health on my M4 Pro after just over a year, we're actually sitting at 97%, which, to be honest, I think is actually really good going, especially considering just how heavily I've used this laptop over the past year or so. I think lower 90s would have been a little bit worrying, but overall it's definitely exceeded expectations. Definitely write down in the comment section if you've got a MacBook how your battery health has ended up after a year of usage. It'd be really good to compare. In terms of battery life, that's been a little bit of a mixed bag. I'd say for the easier tasks like, say, scripting and a bit of general web browsing, the battery life is really strong. You're looking at easily a full day of battery life for that sort of stuff. But when you get into the heavier stuff like working inside Premiere Pro, then the battery life is dropping right down to 4 to 6 hours if you're lucky. The 4-hour days can definitely be a little bit more frustrating, but 6 hours for me is probably ample. That's probably the sweet spot. I very rarely find myself having to do video editing away from a power socket for that long. But in general, in terms of battery health and battery life, I'm pretty impressed with the M4 Pro. It's been an incredibly versatile and reliable machine. A feature that I probably should point out that I absolutely love on my M4 Pro is actually the instant wait feature and also the standby time. You're realistically getting days and days out of that. But should you ever get caught short with the M4 Pro and you do run out of battery, once you plug it back in again, everything's going to be just as you left it. Apple are really good at doing that. You're not going to lose any work. Charging speeds are also pretty decent. You're going to get around 50% in just 30 minutes with the right adapter, which, to be honest, is plenty for most of us. The bottom line with the M4 Pro is that the battery health has definitely exceeded expectations after a year of usage, and the real-world battery life with the M4 Pro is also pretty impressive, definitely for those lighter tasks. And for the heavier tasks, I mean, what do you expect? Obviously, if you're 4K and 8K video editing, your battery life is going to shoot down. I think 4 to 6 hours is a decent expectation for the M4. It's definitely not something that I'm going to cheer about, but for me, I very rarely get caught short, and I think most of us are going to find ourselves a charging point within that 4 to 6 hours. But speaking of those heavier tasks, what about 4K and even 8K video editing on the M4 Pro? I'm actually going to start off by talking about 8K video editing. It can do it, but it will struggle every now and then. All I'd say is that I wouldn't really want to be producing a 30-minute long 8K documentary on this. However, the versatility is there. You can definitely get away with 8K footage in there. For the less technically adept who don't know how to use proxies, I'd maybe consider going for something like the M4 Max. But 8K video editing is genuinely possible on the M4 Pro. 4K video editing is where it really starts to shine though, in my opinion. I said in my initial review of the M4 Pro that I thought it was actually outperforming my $4,000 custom-built Windows PC over there. I've actually changed my mind now, and I'm going to go ahead and say that it's definitely outperforming my $4,000 custom-built PC. Honestly, the M4 Pro for 4K video editing on the fly has absolutely blown me away. I very rarely, if at all, have to reduce the playback resolution inside the player in Premiere Pro. It really does do such a good job. It cuts through complex timelines like butter. I've been producing up to 20-minute videos, sometimes even longer, on my YouTube channel, and it really has just been a breeze, to the point that I very rarely actually use my Windows PC. More often than not, I'm hooking the M4 Pro up to my monitors at my desk. It's also been great for things like Photoshop. There's been a few more graphic intensive features being released over the past few years, and again, it's just keeping up with all this absolutely fine. I will say that one tiny regret when I bought the M4 Pro is actually not getting a little bit more storage. This is the 512GB storage version. I kind of wish I'd gone for a terabyte. However, I have been grabbing these, and I actually think I've saved myself a lot of money without realizing it, because it's actually much more cost efficient just to go out and buy an SSD. Well, at least it was. I'm not sure now with the memory crisis and all that, but I've been buying these, which are 2TB SSDs. I think they cost around $130 or so, and it is a better way of expanding your storage. These are definitely fast enough to video edit off as well. I'll put a link in the pinned comment and the description for this exact model if you want to copy this and use this for video editing on the fly as well. Anyway, another point on performance is the M4 Pro going to get hot, and are the fans too loud? Well, in all honesty, my answer is no. Very, very rarely do I actually hear the fans kick in, and when they do, it cools down just as fast as it heats up. In my opinion, Apple have done a pretty good job of keeping the thermals under control on the M4 Pro. And obviously, because it is built purely out of metal, it's probably going to feel a little bit warmer to the touch than some of those plastic Windows PCs out there. I've only really got one bad thing to say on the performance of the M4 Pro, and that is not really Apple's fault. I just wish that we had more gaming options. The power is almost certainly there. I've seen a couple of guys on YouTube doing ports of different games, and they're working just as well as some of the top-rated graphics cards out there. So we know we can do it. I just want to see that selection come to Macbooks soon. I think it's definitely on its way. I've seen there's an official Cyberpunk port on its way. It might even be here by the time this video is out. So definitely looking forward to what the future holds. But I do have to point out that if you're in the market for a laptop and you are comparing between a Windows PC and a MacBook, you might actually be better off going for a Windows PC if you want to be gaming on it and you want to be video editing. Of course, you probably will likely take a hit in the video editing section, but most Windows PCs at a similar price point will do a decent job for you. Whilst I'm talking about performance, I should also point out connectivity, the port, and then using the M4 Pro with things like an external dock. In my opinion, the M4 Pro is so well equipped. It's got everything you need in the modern world. You've got Thunderbolt 5, which can reach speeds of up to 120 gigabits. That's 3 USB-C slots in total. You've got an SD card slot. You've even got a headphone jack, and then you've got that HDMI port, and then that MagSafe 3 slot, which I have to be honest, I actually criticized at first because I just didn't understand why we needed it. But now I absolutely love it. I've actually been using tons of different docking stations over the past year. It's one of those weird things that tech YouTubers seem to just get sent one after another. The one I'm currently using is from a brand called Ivanky, which does 4K 60 absolutely fine, dual monitors, and then it's also got your charging port on there as well. I also use one called the HiDock H1. I actually really did enjoy that and did actually post a video on it. Really highly rated. It's actually got ChatGPT built in and a speaker. It was very, very versatile docking station, but what I'm saying is you've got tons of options out there, and a lot of them do more or less the same things. And I've just mentioned ChatGPT, so I've reserved this whole section of the video to talk about AI on the M4 Pro and how I've actually been using Apple Intelligence. I haven't used it. Literally not once. So that's that. Anyway, with that out of the way, we might as well answer that third big question, which is how has the MacBook Pro M4 actually held up over the course of a year in terms of durability, any deep scratches, any significant damage? And I gotta say, it's been an absolute tank. And that has definitely exceeded expectations. I think Apple products are quite well known for not doing so well in a durability section, but they're clearly getting better. The first thing that I was really worried about with going for the space black version was, well, to be honest, having scratches all over the place. And if you take a really good look at my M4 Pro after the year of usage, it's really looking in pretty decent condition. I did take some very, very basic precautions, like with the dbrand skin that I've got on. You can see that that has taken a little bit of a beating and maybe saved it from some of the deeper scratches. But overall, in general, if I was to give this a wipe down, it'd probably look brand new. Some of my pet peeves with it is the fingerprint grub. Obviously, that might just be me having grubby fingers and hands. I do find it gets on the display, it gets on all the keyboard caps, and you quickly get this generally mucky look all over the metal frame as well. But that's only a very minor gripe. That being said though, the space black version was definitely the right choice. It's so minimal, it's so clean, it's got that high-end, sophisticated kind of minimal aesthetic that a lot of us really do enjoy. I think that the M4 Pro in space black really does stand out from the crowd. I know that I've been overwhelmingly positive in this review so far, but off the back of talking about the durability and the screen getting a little bit mucky, I do actually have one huge regret, and that is not going for the nano-texture display. You don't need it by any means. I mean, this is one of the brightest laptops on the market. I have found myself when I'm outside just wishing that I did have a slightly brighter display, and I also wonder, because of the matte look, would that have actually stopped some of that fingerprint grub getting on the screen all the time from the keycaps? I don't know, in hindsight I probably would have spent that extra $140 on the nano-texture display, and I think when I inevitably do upgrade to a new MacBook, probably going to be the M6 now, I think that I will actually pay that extra money for that display. So that's my one bit of negative feedback and probably advice if you are buying one of these. If you can spare a little bit of extra cash, I probably would actually go for the nano-texture display. Didn't think it was worth it at the start. Now I'm kind of kicking myself. Anyway, since I got this MacBook, there has been one major change, and this was the update that brought the liquid glass with it. Didn't love it in the pictures, but do actually like it now it's been installed. But one worry that was sort of floating around was all these extra animations and this kind of refractive glass layer on everything actually going to slow down older MacBooks. And I gotta say, the M4 Pro has held up absolutely fine. I've literally not noticed any difference between before the update and after the update. So overall, I think it's been a general improvement. I think it takes a little bit of getting used to, and it's definitely down to personal preference. But for me, the liquid glass effect really does look the part. Definitely let me know in the comment section what you think of the liquid glass update though. Is it for you, or do you prefer the older look? Anyway, we've almost covered everything that I think is important for those of you who are considering buying an M4 Pro in 2026. Obviously, we've got the webcam and speakers. Both have actually exceeded expectations. The speakers in particular, I think, sound absolutely brilliant. They sound so deep and rich for a laptop, and it's just an added bonus with everything else that you get. The webcam is slightly above average in comparison to other laptops out there, but nothing particularly special in my eyes. With all that in mind, should you buy an M4 Pro MacBook Pro in 2026? I would highly recommend it. I think it's an absolutely brilliant machine. The only sticking point, which is weird because I've just sang its praises all video, is that the price hasn't really gone down that much since I first bought it. I think it's less than $200 off from just over a year and a bit ago. The standard M5 chips have just dropped. No, they cannot beat the M4 Pro. The M4 Pro is still more powerful than them. But now we've got the M5 Pro chips dropping. To be honest, if it was me in your situation and it was the difference of up to $500, I'd probably buy the M5 Pro just for longevity and future-proofing reasons. However, if you are on a budget and you found a really good deal on a pre-owned M4 Pro, I'd absolutely jump at it. I think it's an amazingly versatile machine and you can't go wrong with it. It can not only be a great laptop, but if you get the right docking station over time to go with it, it can be an amazing desktop machine as well. And I think I've proved that it is capable of standing the test of time, much like Apple's other products like the Apple Watch Ultra 3, which you can check out in the top left or right hand corner now. See you in the next one.